Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 9:38 a.m. South African time. We cross over to Kenya and we are going to be talking with Mohammed Yusuf, who's standing by to talk to us about the end of the elections and the winner being announced. Kenya's Electoral Commission chairman is declared Deputy President William Ruto the winner of the very close presidential election over five-time contender Raila Odinga. Undoubtedly a triumph for the man who shook up politics by appearing to struggling Kenyans on economic terms and not on traditional ethnic ones. Assalamu alaikum, Mohammed Yusuf. Welcome to the show. And do you believe that this was an expected outcome?
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, and at the same time, no, because Kenyan politics sometimes is quite unpredictable. But I think we are seeing a situation where a country is moving in a way. In this particular elections, we don't know what may happen in future, inshallah. But for now, what we know is in this election, Kenyans were able to look at issues and not the usual ethnic groupings that has shaped Kenyan politics. This time around seems to be a bit different, and of course, it comes at a time there's economic hardship, not only in Kenya but in many places around the world. And of course, the elections after 6 days, of course, we had a winner. The Electoral Commission announced who won the election. That's William Ruto, the president-elect, with 50.8% of the vote. His main challenger, Raila Odinga, who was running for the fifth time, got 48.8%. And that's a difference of about 200,000 votes, very, very close. But again, with that kind of election so close, it creates a different reactions. Of course, there's celebrations. Of course, there have been protests. Some of them actually very violent. And today, probably people will be waiting for some statement from Odinga camp. We're yet to hear anything right now. But we've seen violent protests. The city is a bit calm and there's very less movement because they're not clear what directions, of course, the Odinga camp will be taking, and that's something that we'll be following very closely.
Okay, do you believe that they might contest the results, number one? And number two, what do you believe has swung the win in the direction of William Ruto?
Of course, we don't know yet until they say the Odinga camp they're going to contest the election at the Supreme Court. Of course, they have 7 days. But also remember, Kenyan law also accepts Kenyan citizens to petition, actually to go to court. And so this is, of course, people do expect that for now. But looking at what really changed, and in many ways, remember, for example, for Ruto, is a deputy president of Uhuru for the past, Uhuru Kenyatta, the outgoing president for the last 10 years. And of course, he is a guy who understood, or a leader who quite understood how the system works in many ways. But Odinga, of course, also is a veteran politician, opposition in the country. But many analysts are trying to look at a situation where many economic issues become major issue this time around. Many youths, for example, with Ruto, and without also forgetting, actually, Ruto, in terms of Christianity, he's been going to church all Sundays and donating money and trying to help churches and communities. That also kind of also changed people perception. Of course, general term has also been Kenyans remember Ruto himself, even though he's been he started running for active politics in 1997. But before that, he was the young leadership of the ruling the Independence Party, KANU, at that time. So he's not also in a way outsider, but Kenyans view him as someone who has risen to the ranks, like any other Kenyan, ordinary Kenyans who have risen to the rank. Unlike, for example, the Kenyatas and the Odingas, who their parents have always been active in politics. That's some feel that maybe one of us is actually now in power. But at the end of the day, the bottom line will always be, it's interesting to see, we've seen situations where people get excited with new leadership coming in, and at the end of the day, sometimes it's quite disappointing. And it's not only in Kenya, but it happens in many places across the world. And that is something really, really interesting to watch. And also, we understand, Ruto, you were speaking to the media after he took his certificate, that he'll be working with the media closely, and he's willing to fulfill the promises that he has made to Kenyans. And that's something to watch, of course. If he comes out in the next 3 weeks, will be very crucial, because the Supreme Court will be listening to all, because you have 7 days to file a petition, and then after that, the respondents will have, in this case, I will be IEBC, and the president-elect will have 4 days also to respond. So that, and then after 14 days, I think the Supreme Court will give its pronouncement on the way forward, and then maybe we'll be talking of the end of the electoral process, or the beginning of another elections again.
Okay, what were the election promises of William Ruto that has kind of swung this win in his favor?
It is generally, it is the same old things, because Kenyans manifestos are similar, and like the same as when they were coming to power. For example, in 2013, they will lower food prices, and we're seeing across the world, not only in Kenya, where the food prices are. But he promises going to change that, and he's going to fight corruption. And there's also a little bit of also feeling, in a way, that there's a feeling that Uhuru Kenyatta government may have forgotten the ordinary people, and some feel that maybe it has worked for the elite. Something maybe the president, the outgoing president, and the people close to him may dispute that. But that has been some of the issues, and of course, fighting corruption is a very big issue in Kenya. At times, it has always been promised, but things are always different when power is taken. And remembering Uhuru Kenyatta also promising, "I'll fight corruption," and one time he was saying, in a day, 2 billion shillings is lost through corruption. So it is a general, of course, how they're going to improve people's lives, lower cost of living, and improve education, infrastructure, and lower the debt that we've seen skyrocketing in the past 10 years. But we'll see how that, and many people are hopeful, but at the same time, they've seen many promises, and they'll be very eager to see what president-elect actually, if he goes past the legal aspect of all this and is sworn in, how he's going to manage the country.
Mohammed Odinga is already 77 years old. He's ruled for a long time. Isn't it time for him to step down in a very dignified manner and allow someone young and fresh with new ideas to take over running of the country? And hopefully the Kenyans will see meaningful change in Kenya, rather than go through this whole, this court battle. And whilst all of this goes on, there's going to be lots of unrest, civil unrest in the country, as you've already indicated, violent clashes, etc.
That is a general view of some, but also there's other view. For example, I think he's done his part. He's done what he can do. It's for five times he was running in this election, and some feel that it's time for him to let go and go and rest. He's 77. But also, so you're also in a situation where we're talking of violent protest, but also what is the best way also to go? Some feel that the best is to go through legal means, and this is the Supreme Court. If you're aggrieved, there's also an urge and a push for politicians and those who lost to go to court. And of course, as you pointed out, it's going to be a very long battle, and people quite feel that. But where do you live? And sometimes it's also very difficult to understand. And for in terms also for Odinga, what really drives him? I think that is a question that maybe if we got a chance here in Nairobi, and maybe Odinga speaks to the media, I think this is some of the questions maybe people will be asking. If is he going to step and let someone else take charge in the opposition, or he's going to continue fighting this battle. I think as a politician, he has his own choices. No one actually speaks for him, and I think that is a question maybe people close to him or Odinga himself can really address. And I think moving forward, we'll see how he'll be able to respond to questions. I think those questions will become very clear to him when he speaks to the media, if he comes out to talk about what the aftermath of this election.
I know that he's possibly going to go to court to contest the results of the elections. But overall, do the people in Kenya believe that the elections were free and fair?
The when we look at it generally, for example, how the Kenyans conducted when they were going to vote, the electoral observers say was a free and fair election. But generally, Kenya has always had a problem, for example, with the submission of results, not actually Kenyans themselves, ordinary people going to vote. That hasn't been an issue. The issue has always been the putting those numbers together and getting a win. That is a fact, and that always has been a Kenyan problem. But this time round, the Electoral Commission, there was sort of transparency, but also back in 2017, that was similar issue we had, thinking everything was transparent. But when people have gone to court and evidence was presented, I think we know the history of 2017 petition. The Supreme Court nullified the election. This is also, we are in the same situation again, looking at if this was a free and fair elections, and IEBC can argue and say, look, all the 46,000 polling stations and all the 46,000 forms are in the portal and Kenyans can access that. But the question is also, that has also come up, is that do we actually know the exact people who come out to vote? Because many Kenyans suspect that there was a low turnout. But these are things, I think sometimes when people go to court, it becomes very open. And of course, going to court also in a way has helped Kenya improve its electoral system. It's not all the time there's a winner or loser, but whenever there's that process, of course, there's a pronouncement the court is going to make. And those kind of pronouncement actually improves the Kenya's electoral management system. People might look at nullification of elections, but we have seen laws actually improve Kenyan electoral system. And people hope, even with the Supreme Court, actually, if there will be one, this petition, then in a way, will also any ruling and pronouncement that will be made would make Kenya electoral system and democracy better as the country moves forward.
Okay, we will be following that story pretty closely and undoubtedly talk with you again in the future. Thank you indeed for your insights. Mohammed Yusuf, based in Kenya, talking to us about the results of the Kenyan elections. It is exactly 9:50 a.m. News and views on Salam Media, our final interview for the day with Trevor Shaku, spokesperson for SAFTU.